Welcome to VeVe Radio, where the fandom grows. With D1 and only Raven and the biggest bro. We dive into comics from pages to screens, collectibles and culture like you've never seen. Get ready, kick back, enjoy the space. VeVe Radios live for everyone in this place.
We live and we live. We live, but we alive. We alive to feel the vibe. We live and we are live. Welcome to VeVe Radio, Radio. Oh, here is your boy, the biggest bro. Oh, here with episode number 4 on your radio stations. Please retweet the space. Elon tried to rug us, right? They try to rug us, but we can't be rugged. Last week they tried. They can't rug the radio show. We are here to provide you a great show today. Episode number 4, like I said, first, we always have to say, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. We have opinions. We're regular people. And guess what? Opinions can change. Woo. I hope you guys are ready for episode number 5. Did I say 4? I meant 5. I am behind on my own episode count. Let's go. And you know, we have our wonderful co-host coming with me today, the most wonderful team. I'm so proud to call them my team. First, my co-host, all the way from the big island of Hawaii, D1 and only.
Thank you, big bro. What is up, everybody? Good morning or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you all for being here. I am the one and only 1/3 of VeVe Radio. And today's going to be another fun, great show. But before we go on, let us introduce Raven.
Hey guys, thanks for being here. Excited for our 5th episode. What do we have today? We have a sponsored giveaway by VeVe Comics. So all you have to do to enter that is be here, and the biggest bro will put your name on a wheel, and later in the show we'll spin for a winner.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Also, please like, follow, and subscribe to VeVe Digital Collectibles and VeVe Comics on all their social platforms such as Discord, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And also want to give a quick shout out to the people in the audience. Thank you all for being here. We have Amajan Jesus, Delco Dude, Huakas, El Batman Mike, Mahalo Joe, Chris Severs, The Real Uncommon Podcast, aka Hinano. We have Omar, Casual, Leo Millie. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate your time. And it's going to be a great show. So, everybody, we did have some homework last week. Did you guys do your homework?
I did my homework. I got Ultimate Wolverine #1. I did collect this comic before, so I did have it on deck. But this was my first time reading it, actually reading the comic, and very interesting. They didn't give us who this is yet. It might not be Logan, right? Like,
yeah, and I didn't have the comic, so I went and actually bought it that day last week, and I didn't read it till like yesterday. But I was reading, I'm like, damn, this is savage. Like, just starting off the bat is like, geez.
Yeah, explosions.
Yeah, I had to pick this one up from the market, and yeah, it's definitely darker than some of the other comics I've read. But yeah, I find the first book just doesn't give you enough. Like, it always leaves you wanting more. So I'm excited to see the second comic that I think comes out today or tomorrow. So I'll probably pick that one up as well. But guys, I did do something crazy on the weekend.
Ooh,
I went I went to a comic store. We were away for a hockey tournament for my son, and I found a comic book store like right across the street. So I went in there, and the guy recommended this comic called We Stand on Guard. And I found it very interesting. It was written 10 years ago, but it's gaining popularity again because it's basically the United States invading Canada. And there's a group of Canadians that kind of turn into freedom fighters to defend their homeland. And I think it's pretty hilarious because their group name is called the Two Fours. I don't know if in the States you guys refer to a case of beer, but here we call them Two Fours. So that was the name. So we read that. Actually, my husband read it as well. And I think there's 6 comics in the series, but this book had all of them together. And I really enjoyed it. And we both, at the end of reading it, said we wanted more. Like, I would have loved to have had gone more detail, but we enjoyed reading it. And it's written by an American, and the artist is done by a Canadian. So I
Wow.
wasn't expecting to find that when I walked in there, but I really enjoyed the recommendation.
Let me find out they got the playbook from a comic book. Talk about they're trying to make you guys a 51st state. That's
I was
crazy.
gonna say, right?
That's crazy.
And this was 10 years
No.
ago that this was written.
That's crazy.
So
Let me find out.
Like,
it was fun. It was a fun read.
well, that's really cool that you and your husband read it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Getting the family in there. Awesome. Yeah, I didn't go for I haven't read any like physical books recently, but when you shared that, I was like, that's cool. I like the cover too.
Yeah, the art's very good too.
Yeah, it's very cool. Um, yeah, the only thing that I've been doing comic wise is just reading what's on digital app. But that's great to hear that you're like going out and you found this gem tucked away somewhere you wouldn't probably think of. So that's really cool to get out there and and find these little things out there. But moving on, we got some comics dropping this week, guys, from Marvel and Dynamite. So I'm just gonna read the list from Marvel Comics.
And you have a gigantic list today, let me tell you.
Yes, I do. So these titles are dropping this Wednesday at 12 a.m. Pacific time. Here we go. Alien versus Avengers #3, Star Wars: The High Republic, Fear of the Jedi #1, Weapon X-Men #1, Doom Academy #1, Ultimate Wolverine #2, Uncanny X-Men #10, Exceptional X-Men #6, Amazing Spider-Man #68, Thunderbolts Doomstrike #1, Ultimate Black Panther #13, X Factor #7, X Force #8, Alien Paradiso #3, Daredevil #18, Incredible Hulk #22, Miles Morales Spider-Man #30, NYX #8, Star Wars Ahsoka #8, Laura Kinney Wolverine #3, Infinity Watch #2, Mystique #5, Storm #5, and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man #3.
Woo! That was a mouthful. Go ahead and take a drink of water. I got you. We got the Dynamite Entertainment list coming out on tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have the Herculoids #1, Darkwing Duck #1. I'm going to get Darkwing Duck. I love Darkwing Duck. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. The Terminator #5, Space Ghost #10, Lord of the Jungle #2, Space Ghost #4, Kevin Smith's Green Hornet #6, Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark #3, Reanimator #3, and then Masquerade #3 coming out for Dynamite.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, Darkwing Duck? No way.
Yeah,
That is
Darkwing
I'm
Duck.
definitely gonna get that one.
Let's get dangerous. Okay, don't get like I said, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Okay.
Yeah, that's one that I'm gonna be covering, but I'm also gonna. I haven't really gone for like a book on the actual app. I've been usually going in the market, but this is when I'm gonna actually go for in the store. Let's go.
Let's go. The one that really piqued my interest, going along with the whole Doom thing that I've been reading on, is Doom Academy. So just like Strange Academy, but since Doom is now the Sorcerer Supreme, now he's gonna have his own magic school and raise some mutants. So it's gonna be interesting to see how his teaching styles is gonna be a little different from Stephen Strange. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a pretty big difference. But yeah, excited to get into that. What about you, Raven?
Yeah, I went along with Thunderbolts Doomstrike #1. So it's funny how I think like Doom seems to be the big bad guy right now. So because this is also part of the One World Under Doom storyline, and it's Doom taking over the world, but Bucky Barnes is the one to kind of help him do it. And then I think Bucky realizes he probably shouldn't have done that. And then he calls on the Thunderbolts to give him a hand to destroy Doom. But the only people that decide to help him out are Black Widow and the Songbird. So it should be interesting. It should be a pretty good battle. And I think I might actually, I didn't know, as I was reading this, I was kind of looking up. I didn't know much about the Thunderbolts. I didn't realize they are like bad guys that kind of turn good.
Yeah, there are rags. There are Suicide Squad essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I find that concept interesting. So I think I might check this one out for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's and their movie's gonna come out later on this year, so real good pickup for that. They're pretty much on theme. Speaking of on theme, we have comics that dropped today and Thursday. Today we had Captain America Sam Wilson #6, the first appearance of Joaquin Torres as the new Falcon, and I got to see the movie this weekend. I really enjoy the movie. Now I get it. Some people not going to enjoy it. They expect more things out of it. Sure, have at it. But for me, Sam Wilson, he's Captain America too, man. Steve Rogers still Captain America, but so is Sam Wilson. I think he earned his spot. It was a really heartfelt movie, and I can see why he is Captain now. And then, of course, on Thursday, we have Captain America #26, where Thunderbolt Ross regains the power of the Red Hulk and faces off with Captain America. Both of these comics have 3,000 editions, so they're getting a little bit lower. $6.99 price point. So, some pretty cool covers. I like the secret rare on the Captain America #26 with the Red Hulk hulking out. And not to spoil the movie, but the Hulk did Hulk things, and I was very happy that he was very Hulk-like. So let's go.
Cool. Yeah, I know I haven't seen the movie yet, but I might wait for video. We'll see.
Yeah, I like for me, I'm a big Marvel fan, so I watch all the TV shows that people think that suck. I'm into all the lore, so for me, I need to go see it in the theater. That's just because I'm a big fanboy. But for like the normal people, I would say you can Disney Plus this thing. You can Disney Plus this thing, and you'll be just fine. Yeah.
Sounds good. And also, guys, don't forget that we have in 10 days. VeVe app will be burning all remaining unsold Marvel and Disney and Star Wars comics. So that'll happen on February 28th. So make a game plan, get what you want to get before it's gone. And then I guess from now on, any new drops that happen 30 days from now, they will be burned as well.
Yeah, man. And just in live breaking news, Darkwing Duck may be read only, just like the Zootopia comics.
Oh no!
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts because I love me some Darkwing Duck. Why would they do that to us? Why they do that to us? But we're gonna hope maybe the source is not correct, but he's usually correct. So we will know. And also, speaking of my source, Mahalo Joe's going to have a wonderful comic show coming up later on this space. Make sure you go check it out, talking about the comics. But now we come up talking about Burns. We had our man Sleeping go out on O'Malley's space and talk about some of the comics that he really likes that's in the market that can be saved with Burn. Then he went to Collector's Hub. So shout out to O'Malley and Mainsy. You know what I mean? Make sure you get your information by locking in and listening to them. But here on this show, we have the segment called Burn Watch. And today, of course, because of our special guest, I got to go over Daredevil number 6 and number 7 that are still in the market, and they're slated to be burned. They're going to be burned. Daredevil number 6 and number 7, why are they important? Because only less than 500 comics have been minted of each of these. With the new series Daredevil coming out, people are going to want to collect the first 10 of this book. So make sure you save yourself a Daredevil number 6 and number 7. These are the Sleeping Slickers picks to be saved from the Burn Watch. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Have you ever worried about your planet being destroyed?
Yeah, all the time. Cylon Raiders could be anywhere. That kinetic energy's got me all jumping.
Don't worry, the Silent Base Star is nothing to fear.
The Galactica and Cylon Base Star are both available on the VeVe Digital Collectibles app.
What the frack are you waiting for? Grab yours today.
Oh, we nailed
Yeah, you
We
did
nailed that.
it.
Let's go. Transitions on fleek. Let's go. All right, so we did have we had an impact week of collectibles dropping. We're having a lot of drops on the month of February. It's dropping all the time. We had a couple of collectible drops that dropped. We have the presidential stamps and the baby Lambo. Raven or D, did you go for any, and what did you think?
What did I do? The Valentine's stamp was one that I went for on Valentine's Day. And I think I only had to do two tries of buying and I got completed the set. So I was really happy with that.
Let's
go. The President series, I'm holding off because there's something later in this week I'm really saving my gems for. So more on that later, but I will complete that set eventually. And no, I did not go for any Lambos.
Yeah, me neither. I did not go for any Lambos. Maybe when they go down a little bit lower, I might pick one up. But like cars aren't really my thing to collect. I like stamps, but I did not pick up any stamps just yet. The presidential one at least. I did do the kisses one, but yeah, not the presidential one. So we'll see. I might pick one up depending what the price is.
Yeah,
what about you?
I really like the Valentine's stamp drop. That was really cool. The FA Hershey's Kisses on there. So I did pick one of those up in the aftermarket. Baby Lambo is going to sit there for a little while for me, but I will pick one up in the market just in a little bit. I just know how my people are. You guys love dropping it low for us. So, let's go.
Oh.
So we do have some upcoming drops coming up on the app. Tomorrow, we have Ron English record number 5 with Ronnie Rabbits with 3 N's and 3 B's. The common is going to have 1,200 editions. The ultra rare is going to have 600 editions, and then there's going to be a secret rare with 200 editions, all going for $7. And of course, you play those by having that Rabbits juke box that's still in the store for you guys to get. That will be the Ron English drop tomorrow. I believe BE or O'Malley will be streaming that drop and hosting it. So get in where you fit in.
And guys, I'm really excited to talk about this one. We have the Wharf Street Studios Limited Epicomi Season 2 Edition with some of our favorite people as collectibles. We have dropping in blind box waitlist format, My Collectibles with animated and sound. My Collectibles VeVe Rockstar Community Manager brings unparalleled energy to the platform, engaging and inspiring users with vibrant presence. In the digital battlefield, they wield an electrified guitar that sends out devastating musical laser beams with each strum. Their microphone doubles as a sonic weapon, unleashing thunderous shouts that stun and push back foes. This AR digital collectible plays homage to My Collectibles' legendary status, representing their dedication to uniting and empowering the VeVe community with powerful, high-energy aura. And he will have 888 editions, list price of 20 gems, and the first public mint available will be number 21. And then we also have Corey. He's VeVe's head of content services. He thrives on caffeine and cutting edge technology to keep up with the fast paced content demands of the platform. With a coffee infused hand and sci fi coffee machine, Corey unleashes high velocity coffee blasts and acidic coffee bombs to weaken enemies on the battlefield. His steam powered gear amplifies his speed and strength, making him a formidable force. This AR digital collectible honors Corey's dedication to delivering top quality content, adding a fun, high tech twist to his legendary status in the VeVe ecosystem. This is again 20 gems, and he will have 868 editions, and the first public sale mint will be number 21. And I don't mean to pick favorites, but I will. This is VeVe Magic, one of the most beloved and famous female moderators in the VeVe community. Wields a powerful blend of advanced technology and arcane magic. Equipped with cybernetic enhancement and a mystical time gem, she bends reality itself, controlling the flow of time to disorient and weaken enemies. Her mastery of time manipulation makes her key figure in both VeVe's platform and the digital battlefield. This collectible immortalizes VeVe Magic's vital role in maintaining harmony within the community while showcasing her power and mystique. And she will have 777 editions. And their lowest public mint available is 21 as well. And then not only do we get those amazing collectibles, we also get the blue metallic secret rare chaser variants for each of these. And they will all have 88 editions each. Guys, what do you think of this?
Me personally, I love, and to each their own, right? Everybody collects the reason why they collect. But for me, to be able to collect people that I call friends is priceless. It's priceless. Like just I get to be a fan of my friends. Like
Yes.
that is amazing. And is it going to go crazy the price and stuff? I don't care. I like this one I really don't care. And the cool thing is I'm really going to go for this drop because I can't lose on this. I can't lose. Like I either get MC, I get Corey, or I get Magic. I don't want to call it bias, you know what I'm saying? But I do, but I'm not gonna say it, but I do.
But I did.
But like you know what I mean, like I really want to collect these, like I really do, like that's fire. Like how cool is that? Like when we first started this journey of collecting premium digital collectibles, that we start getting people that we actually know, like you know what I mean, like David and Dan is cool, but like having people like Eagle Eyes, Corey, MC, and Magic is amazing. I think this is a cool drop. And for me, it's awesome. And I get it. It's not going to be for everybody. Good for you. But for me, I'm very happy and I'm very excited, man.
Yeah, it's so exciting to see like people that we've actually met from like within the community. Um just yeah, be like immortalized, be epicode, and I think it's so cool. And I got to meet all three of them in real life, so that makes it like when you meet someone in person, it makes it even more special. Um so to have like a digital asset to them, it's like even more cooler. It's like in a way we can actually match, right? Match your physicals with your digital kind of thing. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
that's cool. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but that is very cool. No, I am excited for this one as well. And like Magic holds a special place in my heart too, because honestly, I wouldn't be here right now on the show, even putting myself out there if it wasn't for her and seeing her represent the women in this space and kind of giving me the confidence to put myself out there as well. So I am really excited for this one. And she did mention yesterday on Emoji's space that there are two hidden, um, I guess, symbols in there that for her are special and that she kind of added to her collectible in memory of people in her life. So that is something to look out for as well.
Ooh, that's
So
even more special that she was able to like make a
a little, the
contribute to
little
that.
addition. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what, guys? I just thought about a little thing we can do. Like, I want to run an AR photo contest, and just I want everybody, if you get a Magic collectible, post the best picture you have with her and Chucky. Just whatever they're
oh,
doing, and
yeah,
whoever
I
posts the
love that.
best, yeah, she would love that. I think she would love just the timeline filled with her, her collectible right next to a Chucky doll, and just in different stances and all this stuff. So let your mind wander, and then we'll run a contest, and whoever has the best one will get a prize and everything. I think that I think
Yeah,
that's I think that would be awesome, right?
yeah. Challenge accepted. Let's do it.
She'll pick the best one.
She'll pick her favorite Chucky one. Yeah, I think that's a winner. That's a winning idea. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Um, and so we also have the Assassin's Creed #3 Connor dropping on VeVe. I believe this is going to be the Sunday drop.
Yep.
A good price at 30 gems. I think that is really good. And the collectible, it looked good. He looked good. He looked good. 2,830 editions of this common. And then you also have the special edition common, which he's going to be posed in a different stance, and that's going to have 70 editions on that special edition common. There is a craft on here, and all you have to do for this craft is you just have to hold the common. If you hold a common, you'll be able to craft the ultra rare. There's going to be a limit of 700, and that's going to take place an hour after the initial drop. So make sure you guys are ready, and that it becomes fastest finger in the West again, guys. You guys want the buy now button? That's the closest we're going to get right now. And then also they have the base, which is a nice tree that looks like just a unmanicured bonsai tree that just they forgot about, I guess, but
It kind of does.
like like they're just like they left it there for a
Water.
month and was like, it don't need water, it'd be all right, it cool, it cool, it's cool. But that was actually for 13 gems. I think that's a really cool price point. And just like the videos that we've been seeing coming out from the Omi homies, these dioramas are really good in AR, and you can really make some really cool scenes. If you haven't checked them out, the Omi homies, they got the VeVe zombie one up, and then the Valentine's Day one they did with, of course, our amazing artist D in the building. That was a part of that really funny video. Shout out to Yo Steph, Max, and Janie, and D and Nano with the budget easel, bro. The budget easel took me out. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was fun to make. It was a lot of fun. I'm like, how are we even gonna do this? And we're just like, we'll just goof around and just see what happens. And it came out pretty good, I think. Not just saying that because I'm in it, but I think it came out pretty well.
No, it
I
was
think
it was funny. The my favorite part was your guys' rich laugh when you guys. That was
Smell my
hilarious.
rich.
Smell my rich. There you go.
Smell my rich. Smell my richness.
Rich. There you go.
I think I missed this. I'm gonna have to go back and check out what you guys are talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was a really good one. Yo, Steph was in there, and she did a really good job too with the acting. So, like
Yeah.
our community is insane, bro. Insane, guys. Like the talent in here is immaculate. Just we have so many different artists in here. We had the show yesterday to battle the AI bands, and those songs were actually bops. Like they were really good. Like, I'm choosing one of those songs as my song of the day, by the way, just because I loved it so much, and I might be trying to make a little, music video for it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
go.
You're gonna have to stay tuned till the end to find out what the song is, guys.
Let's go. So I am still typing in everybody's name into the wheel. Just to let you guys know, you have to do absolutely nothing but exist. I'm gonna shout out all the people that I have on the wheel, and then if I said your name, cool. If I did not say your name, you got rugged, man. Sorry, dude. I'll try to do better next time. Yeah. All right, I think that's everybody, and here we go. We have O Millie, Chris Severs, Mahalo, Doko Dude, El Batman, Omar, Mazin Jesus, Wakas, Casual, Telsman Rizzo, Jesus, VeVe, Jesus, Evolve, Viper, King Nino, Common Guy, Calibrating Comics, what? Vegan. Oh, vegan things. I was like, vegans. Vegan things. Shankster and Slammy on the wheel. Here we go. We're going to spin that wheel. Let's see who's going to win today. And of course, it's King Kong Khan himself. Mahalo Joe wins again. Mahalo Joe wins all these things. That's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Congrats,
no,
Mahalo. Congrats.
Yeah, congrats.
no, people always win. You be like, how does he always win? And then I just watched it happen. The wheel just chose him. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Mahalo, I'm pretty sure you got the direct connect to MC because he just always wins. So he's just like, just tell him another one.
Yeah, with the DJ Khaled GIF. And another one. Congrats, Mahalo.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. So, thank you for doing that, big bro.
Of course.
We're gonna be going into our CGC segment in a little bit, but before we do, just want to say thank you. 'Cause I know you gotta dip out.
Yeah, I gotta pay bills and work, and I gotta work for these gyms, man. You know what I'm saying? I gotta work for these gyms.
Yeah, start saving those gems.
But I will be listening. I will as I'm driving to work. But it wouldn't be good if I was driving and talking at the same time. Yeah, dig.
It's okay for you to be muted though on the bus and just going crazy. That's fine.
I do what I can for my friends always. You know what I'm saying? Always.
But thank you, big bro. Drive safe and have a good day at work. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, oh, he's already coming up. I'm going to introduce our special guest for today. So please bear with me. There we go.
In a world of ink and pixels, where heroes rise and villains do, there's a collector, a writer, a connoisseur, Chris Severs, a legend in the digital pool. He's got the power, he's got the flair, Chris Severs. He's the Marvel maven, from comics to screens, he's everywhere. Chris Severs, the digital connoisseur. With a pen in hand and a keyboard on his lap, he writes.
Chris!
Dee!
Ladies
Hello.
and
How
gentlemen.
are you? How are you, D Raven? Big bro, are you
Good.
still on us or is he on mute?
Big bro, he's
Yeah.
on mute. He's gonna
He's on mute.
heading to work.
Just missed him, but hello, my friend.
Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to the show.
And what a nice intro on my own tune.
Right? We gotta run a CD for you so you can play it in your car.
Yeah, you got it. I watched the Battle of the Bands there last night while I was on the elliptical. That was pretty fun. Very cool.
Oh, multitasking, eh?
Oh well, you gotta fill the space with something, right? So,
I like that Canadian A you added in there, D.
did you hear my A? Uh-oh.
I
Is
Oh,
my
D
Canadian
finished
showing
it.
again? I don't know.
No, my Canadian showing.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I've only started saying that like the last 2 years, I think, because of like our so many friends from Canada. So I find myself just saying A every once in a while. I'm like, huh, okay. I
Okay, good.
Yeah.
could fit in
It
there.
wasn't me meeting you on the beach. That's I don't think did I say it too much then? I don't know. I
What's
was
that?
so happy just to be in Hawaii, so I felt very American. So it was good.
Yeah, it was clash of both worlds.
It was the clash, yeah. That's good. So how have you been? How are things? I love hearing the little guy on the in the background there on some of your shows. So
Oh yeah, he's our producer. So every once
yeah.
in a while he needs to butt in and let us know if he's approving of something or not. And yeah, just work at getting better, I guess.
Future videographer. There we go.
Yeah.
That's
But
perfect.
this show is about you, Chris. So we just want to have a real nice conversation with you, talk about some comics. But if you could introduce yourself to our guests, to our audience, I apologize, and just kind of tell us about yourself, how you got into collecting in general, or however deep you can get, however you're comfortable with.
Sure. Boy, where to start? First, well, hello everyone, and I guess thanks to everyone for popping by and listening in. This is great, and good job on the show too, guys. This is fun. I love the little commercials and stuff and everything. It's exciting, right? Lots of content. I think I saw Amelia make a post a little earlier too, right? There's just so much of this happening in our space. It's just a nice place to be, right? So, but yeah, boy, me, shucks. Let's see. I guess my first collecting experience, I was probably a kid. I mean, I must have been before age 10, right? We used to collect bottle caps. I might have mentioned this to you once in the past, but we had a store here in Vancouver. There was a chain of them. I don't know if they were in the States or not, but it was called the Pop Shop. And you would wait after school, and you would get into the store, and it was massive, just pop bottles from end to end. And they didn't really have any names. It was just the brand, and it was POPPE, I think. POPEE. I can't remember. But they had really funky bottle caps. And so you would just get green if it was lime for the bottle, or orange and it was orange. There was no Orange Crush back then and stuff, right? I was that old. But you would collect these caps, and then stock to stack them, and then you could do tape them together, and we would take them to school, and we would shoot bottle cap games and all kinds of stuff with them. And then my mom had enough of that and threw them all out. So
Oh
that
no.
was my my first experience of collectible loss. that but that progressed into hockey cards and baseball cards, and I mean, I probably have thousands of them still down underneath the stairs in their little tins and boxes, and those were big, and it was not unlike what we see today with a lot of things, right? There were your keepers, your Gretzky's, your hot goalies, and your special edition, your chaser cards, and all that kind of stuff. And then just some of the no names, the really weak cards. Those are the ones that you would stack and you take to school, and you'd play topsies and knockdown, and all kinds of games with the cards and whatnot, just in a attempt to amass. But of course, we had trading. You would trade your cards. We'd get together. We'd do all that kind of stuff, and nothing, of course, would beat the excitement of when your dad would throw you $1. Right? You'd go into the corner store, and you'd buy a pack of hockey cards, and you'd just tear it open to see what was inside. And I think that's one of the things that got me back into digital collecting too, because you have that sense of what are you going to get on a blind box, or like on candy, right? They still have unopened packs and all that kind of stuff. And so it's really cool to see how this industry has sort of stayed with me this many years. For those that don't know, I think I'm in like my 5th decade, so I've been around for a bit. But it's just it's really neat to see all these connections. And I collected all kinds of things growing up, and beyond that, we used to have BMX bikes. For anybody that remembers the 80s, if there's any other 80s kids out there, that was a pretty big deal. But there was no such thing as helmets. We didn't wear elbow pads when we rode the bikes, right? We made ramps, and we launched ourselves 6 feet in the air, and it was survival skills that got you out of injury. It wasn't padding, right? And so we just came up in a different era. But some of the gear that you could buy for the bikes, I mean, that was part of the collectible genre as well, right? There were certain handlebar pads that it didn't do anything if you hit them, but they just might have looked cool, right, to kind of flash your bike up a little bit. For those people that maybe ever stuck a baseball card in your spokes just because it sounded cool, right? I mean, all these little effects. And all my newspaper route money would go into that kind of stuff. And I guess that's from there is when I really got into comic book trading, because now, well, my buddies and I, we had bikes, right? We were mobile. We could get around without asking our parents, can you drive me over to Tom's house and all that kind of stuff. And suddenly one guy, I always remember, a buddy of mine, Todd, he had a stack of comic books, and we were like, oh yeah, what's this? Right? I had no idea. I had comic books as a kid. My dad used to read Archie comics, but I would have never thought of having them to hold on to. And he was the first guy that ever said, I just like these covers. They look so cool. And, I just could never throw them out, and my mom always wants me to clean my room. And these are the first things she wants to go because they're laid out all over the place. And then we started reading them, and it was kind of neat. One thing led to another. And next thing you know, we're taking buses downtown. I don't know if Aaron's on here or not, but we'll hear this later. But, there's a big collectibles shop in downtown Vancouver called Golden Age Comics. And I mean, you would just walk into that store and it was mesmerizing. And statues and posters and movie posters and every comic book and, Dungeons and Dragons, you used to be able to pick up, sets and, game pieces for all that stuff. And it was just addictive as a kid, right? It's suddenly here was something that you could really get into. And now you're, the comic guys that used to watch on Saturday morning cartoons, you could suddenly buy the book, take that home, just enjoy it. And that was me. That's where I got hooked. And of course, a lot of people know it was Daredevil was where I really started, buying into a lot of the books. And I just grabbed this one copy. It was Daredevil 54, I think was the first one I ever bought. It just had this super sick cover on it. And I said, oh, that's cool. And then that was it. I started reading the the Chris Claremont runs, and it was just you started to align with various artists and books, and that led me into X-Men, and that was the other big, probably the two that I spent about 90% of, because I didn't have a lot of money back then, right? my paper route paid about $3 a week, something like that. So it was good that comics were only $1, right? So you could pick up a couple every now and then, but. And that's just how it got started, and been going ever since. And then I guess about your mid-20s, suddenly life hits, right? And you've got mortgages. I met Tara. Things start to change, right? And so I ended up I sold off. I had a few graded and slab books, and I sold off some stuff because, of course, I was trying to help my parents, pay for a wedding and all this kind of stuff, and then I was out for a while, right? Probably 15, maybe even 20 years, right? I didn't really collect anything because the focus changed, right? And you building your family and whatnot. And then around, was it 2021, right? This VeVe thing shows up. I'm like, oh, what's this? And I missed all the first stuff. I missed everything until finally when James Bond dropped. That was the final kick in the butt for me. And I grabbed some posters, and then I went in and I started picking up MC1s and Fantastic Fours. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. And that's what brought me back in. And here I am now. So there's the 5-minute get me up to speed.
So you said that your first purchase on VeVe was James Bond? Is that what got you
Yeah,
started?
it was the whiteout poster. And boy, I just loved it. I love that show, how they portrayed Daniel Craig, the ending. I don't know if everyone's seen it or not, so I don't want to spoil it. But there was a moment there. It's like, oh, is that the end? And so when I saw the posters drop, I thought, it was one of those other things. I've said this 100 times to people. How did they get? The Todd Batman I thought was really cool. I thought this is a really neat integration, and Todd's always been pretty proactive in chasing new technology and trying new things. It didn't surprise me that digital would be something that he would move into, but to all of a sudden see Marvel Comics #1, that was like, a lot of people don't even know that book exists, and suddenly here it is in digital format, and you're like, what's happening here? And then FF1 and Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Journey into Mystery drop, and you're just like, hey, holy cow, this is something different. And I thought it was different right off the bat because it wasn't being done through Marvel Unlimited, which I'd read
Right.
for years. I've had an account, right? And I said, well, why wouldn't they do that on there? So why is this different? What is this app? And then I start investigating, and it was the connection that I was making at the time between what is Bitcoin? What is Ethereum? What's going on? What the heck is crypto? There's a lot of speculation and surprise. And suddenly I was, seeing some videos on YouTube about NFTs, which I knew nothing about at the time. But having been in digital tech and advertising most of my career, I just said, I'm going to start looking into this. And I don't know, I probably put 50, 100 hours into reading, learning, trying to figure out what was happening. And that's where all this was coming together. And I said, this is digital ownership. This is something that probably 99% of the population is not going to figure out for 10 years. And that's usually, if you're going to have an opportunity, that's when you want to try and get in and, knock on wood, everything works out, because it's also the most risky time to get in on any project or company, right? And so, but to me, I fell in love with the brands. I couldn't believe that these types of things were hitting this space. And the blockchain verification, ownership, yeah, we've gone through some changes and whatnot, but seeing these things on IMX and connected through Ethereum, digital ownership, and to me, I said, this is so cool. Yeah, I'm going to jump in on this. And then that was kind of been going ever since. What are we now? Three, almost 4 years.
4 years almost, yeah. So
4 years.
that's exciting though, like your aspect, like I came into it with no collecting knowledge, but for you to have that knowledge already and knowing what comics are good and knowing what comics are rare, and to me that must be so exciting to jump into something like that and see those comics that you thought you would never be able to have.
Yeah, it's I gotta say, Raven, it's fantastic. Like we have a list in front of us. I don't even know what the number is we're up to now. Like how many thousands of comics are in the app, right? Like
It's a lot.
You used to be able to kind of scroll from top to bottom, in the market, and it would take about 10 minutes. And now it's about 3 days.
Yeah.
Are we there yet?
Yeah. So I like that there's some filters being put in, and that's helping. But your point, to see the titles that we have, it's mind-boggling. Like they're almost every first appearance, every major comic key, and there's still so many more to come. But just from what we have right now, I don't know if a lot of people understand how big that is, how important that is. Like if you tried to go into a comic book store and buy a single copy of every comic key and OG that we have on the app, like they're not going for $1.
Yeah.
So this is the part where I think that we're just in the midst of a, kind of like before a technical bubble really just waves and everybody's catching the wave because they figured it out. There's a lot of people still sort of swimming around trying to figure out, what is this thing? And is this valid? Is this real? What does this mean? I think the technology is still really new for most of the population. And I mean, as always, right? Non-financial advice and all that kind of stuff. I say, don't follow me. I'm lost too. But look at Bitcoin, right? Where that's come in 15 years, and it's still nowhere near mass adoption. And what's happening now is you have everything from governments to states. In Canada, we now have provinces, even city level, right? Mayoral levels. Our city of Vancouver mayor just said they want to put 10 Bitcoin on their balance sheet because they can afford to find $1 million to do that, right? That's government entities that are now talking about this. And that's part of the narrative that will bring everything attached to it into mainstream. And I still think there'll be a time, and this is probably not that far off, but people won't be talking about NFTs and blockchain technologies. They'll just be talking about digital assets, and this is how you do it. And that's where I just look at, these first appearances and these characters that we have access to. It really is special because it's hard to find them a lot of times, when you go into a comic book store and really know what to look for. The challenge, of course, is that we have everything kind of coming into one experience. So you've got the VeVe comics with the brand new stuff in the modern age. You've also got the traditional side, I think Aaron said this once, right? We've got VeVe green and we've got VeVe blue. So if you're a new user, right, you're going to have to figure that out. And, what does that mean? but I still think that's part of the excitement of the journey. And I just see the things that are, happening, like Dynamite Comics. Where did I see this the other day? There's a title, I think, coming out with Elvira and Harley Quinn. Just fun things that they do with characters that people probably knew or grew up with. I knew Elvira, and a lot of people are Harley Quinn fans and all that. Well, let's put them together in a book, right? I mean, you can do that kind of stuff in comics and you get away with it, publish it, see how your fan base responds to it, and then figure out what to do with it, right? You don't have those huge production budgets that you might have to do in Cinemaville, right? Take a risk that your latest iteration of Batman's going to be successful, or does everyone like Superman's new suit? Like there's so many things that can go wrong when you go to the theater, but when you put it in a book format, right, your risk factor is a little bit less, but you can also really see how people respond to it. What's his name that just did the absolute Batmans on DC, right? Scott Snyder, I think it is. Like explosively successful. And that was all digital. And as we said before, right, most of the stuff now is produced digitally first, and then it goes to print, right? All your production and setup, everything's done digitally. All your writing's done digitally. All your editing, copywriting, all of that's digital first. And then now the physicals often come second, right? So we went through that when I worked in the the newspaper industry. If anybody remembers what those are. So,
What's it?
remember a newspaper? It'd show up at your house and you'd
Some
read it while you had coffee
bundle
and
that.
breakfast. So, but yeah, it was the same. Like when I left that company, that was the transition that they were going through. It's like, we have to go digital first. We have to produce everything digitally, because the challenge with the print product was it was a snapshot of yesterday's news. And by the time it showed up at your house tomorrow, it was already outdated because suddenly Facebook was posting live news feed, right? And then this YouTube thing showed up, and suddenly you could just find any video, news, entertainment that you wanted. Everything was happening so fast that put a lot of pressure on, traditional media, mainstream media. The radio suffered from it, TV broadcast suffered from it, print suffered from it. Now look at, we're on a social platform having this conversation, right? That was
Exactly.
impossible to think about even just 5 years ago. This stuff has happened so quickly. And what happens is you don't even think about the technology. None of us are thinking how X managed to put this together. We don't think about the technology behind that's allowing this to happen. Just everybody showing up and listening to some fun conversations, and it's seamless, right?
Yeah.
I know every once in a while Alex gets rugged by X and Elon knocks him out of his own streams.
We've had a few issues, but
It's that's all part of the fun, and everybody kind of understands that, right?
Yeah.
But that's now when I sometimes I go to bed, right, and I just open up the reader and okay, which comic am I going to get into tonight, right? I don't think about the tech that's delivering that. I just think they've put a product together that's really easy to use,
Yeah.
and it's very enjoyable. And here I'm in bed reading Thor's first appearance, and I'm not worried about wrecking my book or falling asleep and dropping it and the pages get whatever it slept on. The amount of utility that comes from just having that is mind-boggling to me.
Oh no, we
It's
are like, this is exciting times, and the fact that we get to be part of it is fascinating to me. But
yeah,
like you,
sure.
I was just gonna ask you, like you were saying, how like there's so much to choose from, and like for me, this is newer, and I'm really actually starting to get into reading comics, and I'm enjoying the Ultimate Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
Is there something that you're really into right now?
Oh boy, there's so much. I know I've been buying up the Wolverine Revenge series. I mean, just some of the cover art I love. I'm buying. I think Sleepin was bang on, right? Like I will have, assuming they keep coming, I will have every issue 1 to 10 Daredevil that the VeVe can put out, right? I mean, I don't have those in the real world. Here I can do it digitally, create the same experience, and to me, it's no different than saying, yes, I own the first 10 comic issues of Daredevil. Now, whether I say it's physical or digital, I just prefer digital now because to me it's so much easier. I have everything in one spot, my phone and all that. But yeah, Daredevil's for sure. Yes, I'm over on DC. I'm reading the Absolute Batman series. I do like that one. And then, oh boy, I don't know. There's so many. I'm just at a loss right now. I'm actually more often just going back and reading all the first appearances that I have because it's one of those things now, right? When you get up to the amount of comics that I have in the app, and sometimes you're like, I've got to start reading them.
Yeah.
And there's so many that I have already. So, and I'm also a big fan of I really like the Silver Age stuff. So that's kind of where I'm spending most of my time is reading all those things and getting back into the X-Men, right? Starting with Giant Size X-Men 1 and then moving on from there. And then when I hear Richard get on like the web V's and boy, he goes on, his knowledge of X-Men is just like second to none, right?
Yeah, crazy.
It's pretty motivating to get in and see what's going on there. But you know, I just like the other day I reread my Marvel Comics #1, and just the fact that you know again, right? To say that I own a Marvel Comics #1, it's not just that I'm reading it; it's that I have actual ownership access to it. And there's always the debate, right? And this is going to be a challenge because digital, crypto, we love scarcity. I don't deny that at all. But 60,000 MC1s, right? How many does Sanjay own, right? How many do I own? How many does anyone else own? Like, you don't really need a lot of people to own them to wipe out the supply. And when you look at the listings, what is it? Less than 2% are in the market, 1 or 2%, right? Most of the people that have that book are holding on to it. And I got to think either A, for dear life, or B, for when if the market recovers, right? But that's like one of those, like that and Fantastic Four 1 and Action Comics #1 for DC and Cap #1. Like, these are books that just, if you're a hardcore fan and you don't have one of these yet, like, what are you doing? Right? So to me, that's going to be a big thing because if VeVe is really on this path of sort of being accessible globally, well, how many fans are Marvel fans around the world, as opposed to what we see on the movie theater tracking, which is generally speaking North American numbers and whatnot, right? A lot of restriction has been placed on this industry because a lot of these titles never made it anywhere else, right? But doesn't mean I can't be a fan somewhere else. I just never had the ability to own it before, and this removes that barrier. And so that's kind of what I'm focusing more of my time on is just reading all those titles that I've acquired that I haven't really. Most of my time, honestly, has been spent in the app scrolling, looking for deals, looking for mint numbers, right? And so trying to put things together that are nice matches, nice pairs. I think like Viva La VeVe, California Comics, right? Some of the stuff that I see him put out lately is just like, holy smokes. How did you even think about putting those two together? Like, it just, and that's the fun part about this, that I think when I do a lot of the articles for Go Collect, when I was originally writing for them, we got a lot of feedback. It was like, I'm not sure the crowd's ready to hear this kind of stuff yet. They're still questioning, digital ownership. They don't necessarily believe in it. There's risk that this is hurting your physical assets. And, here you're talking about how great this is. A lot of people are feeling threatened by that. And I said, well, that's just fear because there's some change that's happening, right? But if you really understand collecting and what's involved in that, the passion of finding a piece, owning a piece, wanting to show it off, tell your friends, right? It goes right back to when you opened up your hockey card pack when I was 16 years old. And, I've always been a goalie. And so all of a sudden, right, like there's I don't know, Patrick Waugh card in there. And you're just like, oh my God, I got one. Like, you couldn't contain that excitement. And I feel that now in this space. And, like I said, I was 15, 20 years in between collecting. And suddenly that passion, that excitement Like everybody loves it when you get a secret rare. There's no question, right? Those are so cool because of how scarce they are. But I've never won anything under a 100 on a drop. I've never really had I think I've won one or two times where I had like a key mint on a drop, and that's okay because I go back in the market and then I find stuff that I usually want, and it's sometimes even better price than if I paid for it off the drop, right? And so to me, that's the hunt, the garage sale experience, the going into antique stores and these little places where sometimes there's a couple of comic books listed on a shelf because the owner doesn't want them anymore and know what they have. And I found a copy of Dazzler #1 in an antique store, and I paid $6 for it. Now it was in beat up shape,
Wow.
but still, right? It's just one person's junk is another person's treasure, right? So that's kind of the fun that I see when certain mints come up and all that kind of stuff. And so
Yeah, so you still get that excitement, whether it's physical or digital, right? You still, like you said, when you were little and opening those packs, you still get that excitement in the digital
yeah,
form using the app, right?
yeah, and in some cases, it sounds weird, but it's almost more exciting digitally because I've got certain numbers that I put together and certain combinations that I put together, and then one shows up in the market. It's like, oh, that's just a perfect fit. Oh my god! And you're jumping in at it, and suddenly these curations are being put together. That's why, like when I reference like California comics, right? Like Clever Jerk does this really well too. If anyone's seen in the feed, right? Like putting assets 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and binaries and palindromes and um, just really different ways of thinking about how these assets can have value and meaning for each individual owner, right? And that's really, I think, the part that I like a lot about this too. I mean, there are thousands of ways that you can put these things together and have a lot of fun with them, right? And so that to me is another opportunity, right? There is something in here for everyone, and it's to me no different. Some people collected baseball cards, some people like hockey cards because that's the sport you played, right? I love Daredevil and X-Men. Other people maybe went and bought other comic titles because they, for whatever reason, resonated with the character, the hero, or the struggle, right? And so um, I don't know if you ask my family. I was watching to those that are hockey fans out there, right? There's the Four Nations Cup going on right now, and I was
Yep.
watching the U.S. game last night, and what was all over the rink board. If you know the technology, right? The ads that you see around the rinks now are digital ads. Those show up to TV viewers that you don't see when you're in the arena, right? And again, we don't question how that happens. We don't think, oh wow, that's cool. It's just suddenly it's there now all the time.
That's-
But long story short, right around that whole arena was nothing but Daredevil Born Again ads. I was just losing my mind.
Oh, no way.
My daughter's like, Dad, chillax. Oh my God. I'm like,
I
Mark
see
can't
you.
come fast enough. Right?
I could just picture that right now.
Yeah, it was
Bring up
great.
your seat.
Yeah, they kind of know I'm a bit of a fan, right? But so then again, right, that's the real excitement that I see, and all these little pieces being put together. And even if you go back, oh boy, I can't remember what the date was, but if probably at least half a year ago, and those Coca-Cola ads were coming out with the comic book store, and all the characters were coming to life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there was that one scene, and someone like me, I would see this right away. Daredevil came out of the comic cover of Daredevil #1 Born Again. And we have that, right? We have that in our app. And that was featured in a Coca-Cola TV commercial. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Oh my God. So of course I went and I wrote a blog about, how our brand's integrating all these kinds of things, right? Just to pour that passion out. But to me, I mean, that was just a wonderful thing Coke did, right, with Marvel to say, you know what, this industry is alive and well. Comic books are still around. I mean, some of them, yeah, everything's going to struggle as digital, takes its hold. But boy, that was a phygital play on a very traditional industry. And what's it doing, right? It's supporting all the characters that we continue to see advance and develop in shows and theaters. And Right? I've seen Deadpool 3 times now. I'll probably see it 30 more.
Oh,
Right?
jeez.
Um, just loved it. I haven't seen the Cap series show yet. I'll have to get out and do that one. I've been a little busy with work the past couple of weeks,
I'm
but still,
yeah.
yeah. To me, I've always loved. I know Aaron and we used to talk about this back when you had the My Collectible show. Right? It was the integration of the books that we see on VeVe, and then all of a sudden, here are these shows showing up, and all the Cap titles that we have now, and I think Biggest Bro mentioned this earlier, right? I mean, this burning mechanism, I'm totally interested in because I think that's pretty cool in terms of scarce supply on some key titles that are hitting the market. Um, yeah, it blows my mind that Daredevil 6 and 7 have not sold out. I'm grabbing them as much as I can, but those are big books, right? And big fun times, and yeah, so that passion is it's there. I love it. I wish I had unlimited resources to keep buying up some of the deals.
Right? Don't we all?
Yeah, that's a bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah.
'Cause,
I'm curious.
oh yeah,
So you mentioned that you write for Go Collect.
yeah,
So I was reading your blog recently about like the ages and the eras, and
hmm
you're talking about how we have, what is it, 5 eras right now, like golden, silver, bronze, copper, and modern. And then I
yeah,
love the question that you pose of, well, what is this next era? And
yeah,
do you have a name for it? Like, what do you refer to as what we're leading into, kind of?
yeah. And sometimes too, like this came from Slider put the post out where he asked the question, right? And I just thought that is such a really cool question, and so I sent a DM and I said, hey, if I turn this into something, are you okay if I quote you in it? And he was like, yeah, like let's get people talking about it. This is a great thing. And I said, okay, let's do it. And so I just I was looking at the dates, right? And as you go through the eras, they're relatively contained to something like a 15, 20-year range. And the modern age that we're in right now has been around since around 2000. Well, we're up on year 25 now. So is it becoming like you just can't keep shoving everything into the modern age and saying it's modern? Because look at the difference between VeVe Comics and VeVe traditional, VeVe Blue, right? One is selling traditional like gold, silver age, bronze age. One is very modern age, but the two platforms together are incredibly modern, like modern, right? And so the technology that's allowing us to do this is way beyond what we were calling a modern age comic, where you printed it, sent it out, and it just happened to be it was printed in 2000 past. So I think and it's often when you go back and look and say, okay, now we're, maybe 25, 35 years into this, and somehow this is going to get changed into its own designation. I think too, we have to start looking at terms like there was modern and then there was digital, or the digitization era, or something along those lines, where you're really bringing out the point that there was a moment in time when the simple comic book became a technological beast, really. The ability to turn this around, own it, distribute it immediately, read it, right? All this kind of stuff that, again, Star Trek back in the 60s, like nobody ever thought we'd be talking to each other on phones, right? I mean, that was just a pipe dream. And, here we're doing it. And the stuff that's coming next, like VeVe-verse environments, that's why nothing is impossible, because it seems like everything we do today came out of an idea from, like Star Wars or Star Trek or something, where these things were like, you'll just never be able to do it, right? And we keep doing it. We keep producing the tech that, the fun ideas that came from yesteryear. And so, yeah, I think when you really start getting into that, so imagine we're 5 years from today, VeVe-verse and metaverse environments are relatively, they might not be mass adopted depending on what costs are and stuff like that, but they'd be mass aware. Most people would know they exist, probably try it out here and there, right? A cousin of mine has some VR goggles. I've played it once. I've gone to the VR gaming centers. So I can say I've done it. It doesn't mean I do it every day, but I've got experience with it, and that technology is here now. So how do you define that, right? Does that just rope into the term modern, or do we want to have it as its own classification? Because suddenly it changed how you can distribute, own, enjoy. And so that's kind of where that whole blog idea came from. And I mean, I kind of like things like the digitization age, where we were taking the asset, the physical asset that's existed for, so long, and then being able to convert it into a very, new age format. That's probably where I would peg it, more like digitization. You could say blockchain age, because this is what it's. Ben said this once, right? When we had our interview, and he says, look, we produce the technology that allows us is blockchain technology. And that's how we put this stuff together. And so that's how all of these assets are being put together. So does that define it? But or is that too technical, because blockchain scare people, right? Everybody knows the term digital. And so maybe that's the approach, right? Because you still want mass. If you can get everything you can do, if you want mass audience, those types of things will help. But if anyone has ideas, throw them out there, right? If you've got something that you think works, right? I think that the time, if we start talking about it now and, building a little bit of a wave behind it, I don't even know. There's some authors and some researchers from the past that were originally coining the original terms, but who's to say someone here can't come up with that next magic term, and that's the one that sticks, right? So
The VeVe era.
the VeVe era, sure,
or the final era. This is it.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw the different ones that you have on your blog, and great job on your blogs as always, Chris. I love them when I can. I mean, you put those out pretty consistently, and so sometimes I'm not able to catch up with it. So I apologize for that. There's a lot of reading material and just stuff to go back on, and I learned things just by reading your blogs. And like when you quote someone like Slider, or in the past you've quoted Randy, and Ben. So I think that's really cool that you have, an outlet for your passion to come out and to also share with other people from the community. So yeah, great job on your blogs.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's one of those, writers face a bit of a challenge these days, right? Because it's just easy to go into YouTube and watch a video, and they're entertaining, right? And so I do it myself. I'm in YouTube. It's my favorite TV show, right? So I'm in there all the time. The blogs are sometimes challenging because there's so much to say, but really, if you start running them over about 500 words, and then suddenly you're moving from 3 or 4 minutes to 8 to 10, they become a lot more challenging for people to stick around and read through to the end. And we live in a world of headlines, right? And I've always blamed Facebook for that, right? They took the era of newspaper journalism and said, everything that you need to know about this article, you can get out of the headline statement, right? So make your opinion. And so everything's become really fast. But for the, on the research side of it, this is part of the requirement, right? Is you have to fact check, you have to make sure that your numbers are correct and that you have source material that, a lot of this, I mean, if it's an idea, then you have to state, yeah, this is, my idea and whatnot. But when you're quoting things, that's what I really like about Go Collect. They've got a lot of research and stuff behind them. But what I like about writing for them is that they let me kind of use the community, right? Like this idea for the comic eras came from somebody putting a post out on X, and I thought that's worthy. Let's look into that. And when I see stuff that the community does, yeah, I love to shout them out, because really that's what's driving this passion, right? So when you see VeVe fan art or Vault Master, or pick your favorite creator, and they're putting these collections together, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta throw an image of that in there, because people need to see this. Because for me, that's when I used to get the kind of the battles back and forth, right, on talking about this tech, a lot of people were worried, just like I said, about attacking the physical value of my asset, right? Are you saying your digital asset is better than my physical asset? You're going to devalue what I've sold this for? And it's like, no, I don't think you're hearing me. This is about massively enhancing the enjoyment of the collectibles industry in a way that maybe a lot of people haven't heard about or figured out yet. Right? Yes, I've got physical comic books. I have lots of, DU and Hananu gave me that slabbed Daredevil. I mean, it's right up on my fireplace mantle in my office. Everybody that comes in, I show them and I tell them I got this in Maui from my friends from the Real Uncommon podcast, right? So you get a little
That's
promo value
awesome.
there too. But right, I love it and I have it, but I said, and it's in that case for a very specific purpose. It looks beautiful. I don't want to touch it, right? And so now what? Well, I get into the app and I match it with the digital, and I'm reading it and I'm enjoying that, and I'm writing about it and I'm sharing images, and we've got people that do some just incredible things with their digital assets that I don't think a lot of people really understand how important or valuable that is, right? Because if I'm the brand, if I'm, say, Marvel, and suddenly somebody is playing around with a Spider-Man NFT and they're putting it as an image on their beach vacation, who's getting the value of that? Of course, we are as the community, but Marvel, the brand, they're getting some value too, right? That's continuing the legacy of that character. And as we read these comics, as we buy these comics, it justifies that people are still interested in it. It justifies that we should still have the writers writing for us, the producers, the distributors. Everything is impacted by this. And I just look at it as the next evolution in the entire space. You're going to get to a point where even the most critical naysayers, the fudders, as we all call them, right? I mean, it gets to a point where it's like you can't FUD it anymore, right? It's like you're trying to push a landslide away with a shovel, right? It's upon us, and so I just think it's great that for many of us, we always talk about being here early, but that's how successful companies grow, is by being early, by taking in feedback, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, making corrections. Yeah, we went through an app change, right? Was the old app built strong enough to do everything that they want to do going forward? No, I don't know. I'm not an app developer. I'm not on the team that makes those decisions. But to me, it's a step in, we know where we're going, right? So now we have to make some changes to get there. And I even think from a collector standpoint, it's going to be pretty hard to say, well, I can't just keep saying I'm a collector because I have a bunch of physical books and argue that this trend is happening. I mean, look at the numbers, right? We got 250,000 people following this stuff on socials. It's not like it's small, right? And so if those people, when you put something out, really, and let's just say you have a minimum of a 10x reach, right? You got a couple million people that are suddenly exposed to these messages and these ideas. And that's movement, that's compelling, right? And so that's kind of why I get excited. That's why I like to write about this stuff. And there's always something new. It's like the pace of what's happening is so fast. There's so much going on. That's my limitation sometimes. Like, oh my God, I only have so many hours in the day because I still have a job, right? I have to do my day job, and then I do my the Go Collect stuff, on the side as a passion. But I really like writing about it. And sometimes every once in a while, I'll go and I'll Google something because I'm interested. Like, oh, what was the first appearance date again of this book, and blah blah blah. And, there's my blog is showing up with the answer, and I'm like, oh yeah, duh. I should probably have known that, right? But it's fun, and I think that's all these little pieces are helping build something that is going to be around for a very, very long time, right? And it's going to extend the value of everyone's assets. And so I think it's really fun. Sorry, that was very long-winded. I got going there, and then
Oh, that's what it's all about.
yeah.
I know you may be limited on time. How are you doing with your time?
Yeah. Oh, we're okay. Yeah, I got about another half hour until I probably have to start checking the watch. So
Okay, don't get any weird looks, right? Okay. Um, yeah. So one question for you, Chris, because you mentioned this before about the easy button. So can you
yeah.
explain your concept of the easy button and why it's essential to hide the wires to make digital collecting easy, paired with blockchain technology.
Yeah, it's such a good question. I think if anyone hasn't seen it, right, there's a company called Staples Office Supply, and they came out with some TV commercials, I don't even know, 10, 20 years ago. And it was just a big red button and it said easy on it. And the whole concept was something convoluted and difficult. You push that easy button and everything happened quick. And that's how I saw VeVe. And so when I was first getting into cryptocurrencies, I didn't understand them. They were very confusing. Um, for some of you might remember, I've said this before, right? There was a crypto called Safe Moon, and it was so hard to buy it. And I said, I'm just going to try this to figure out if I can actually make this work. And it took about 3 days. I can't remember. It was so frustrating. I said, this is ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, Vivi's like, here, use your Apple Pay and buy this comic book. I said, well, that's not really all that different than me just putting my credit card into Marvel Unlimited and signing up for subscription or doing anything, right? And I don't know, for those that don't remember, when the 90s came around, the late 90s, early 2000s, and suddenly you could buy things online, all you had to do was give your credit card. Well, nobody wanted to give your credit card, right? Like, what the heck is this internet? Where's my credit card going? Who's getting access? Like, it was terrifying, right? So we've come a long way since then. Nobody really thinks about that anymore. But what VeVe did that was really, really simple was just take some incredibly complex systems and make it into an app where if you like that comic book, you had easy ways to own it, right? You could use Apple Pay, you could put your credit card in now. We're getting to a point for the crypto enthusiasts, right? You might be able to use your OMI, you got Stacker, you have all these things that just make the access um, non-difficult. And I think for when you start going mainstream adoption, you cannot be difficult. The more difficult you are, the more people you lose because it's frustrating. I couldn't make it happen. I go and I tell 10 of my friends, yeah, I tried it. I couldn't even get the damn thing to load. So I think we're well past that, right? We're at the point now where it's pretty easy. You've got even, VeVe Comics, like when you talk about same day, that's a concept that's always been kind of cherished by a lot of collectors that wait for their new book to drop, but it takes sometimes up to 90 days to get that book to show up, right? It's difficult. I bought a cover that a Wonder Woman cover I just bought recently, and I'm waiting now. It's week 3. Week 3 since I bought that book. I went online last night to check where it was. It says it's been delivered. Well, it hasn't been, right? So now yesterday was it was a family day. It was a holiday here in British Columbia. So it could be that the book is sitting at the post office, and maybe they're going to bring it today. And I don't know because now the comic book company's courier said it's been delivered, and I'm in limbo. See how frustrating that is?
Oh, that is
And
frustrating.
yeah. So again, it felt like an easy button, right? I found the title, I purchased it. It's a very limited run. But it's not easy. It's not easy because I don't have it yet, right? And so when you look at even how simple it is to say, I bought that comic on VeVe, it's in my collection, I know it's there, and that happened in seconds. Seconds, right? Not days, not weeks. And so that to me is just, it's so easy to be a part of this. It's so easy to just open the book and read it. There's a button right in the center of the app. Place your comic in AR. When you talk about AR and these how we're digitizing into the actual physical world, that's a concept that's still quite new for people. Like we all get it. We know what that means, but someone that maybe hasn't been in VeVe yet, I don't get it. This AR, what are you talking about, right? So that's a learning curve, but it's a fast one. And it's very, very cool way to show off your title, enjoy the title, read the title, right? All the things that book you provided me, D, in that slab is never going to come out of that slab, right? And so that's another way that you can enjoy this stuff easily. And who just did this? For the crypto crowd out there, Plan B, that guy that talks about, all the Bitcoin growth charts and analysis. He's a really big Bitcoiner. He just moved all his Bitcoin off of his cold wallet into Bitcoin ETFs in the US. And his statement was, it's just easier for me to manage my Bitcoin this way. Now you can imagine the amount of flack he's getting from the crypto world, right? But why did he do it? He did it because it was easier, right? Easier to track, easier to feel safe, easier to have some level of engagement. Here's where it is. I don't have to worry about losing this and blah, blah, blah. So again, I just think that was the world of ETFs when suddenly Ethereum and Bitcoin moved to ETFs, because now you could get them through your app, your whatever financial app you're using. Banks are about to start custodying this stuff. Like, you're just seeing the change in the ecosystem happening. And so anything that's kind of connected to that, I think this is where we're going. And from someone that's worked on internet media for 20 plus years, right? I look at this very simply. This is just a brand new pipe that's being built because the internet was never really built to handle transactions. It's been failing at it, right? This is why you have fraud. This is why you have theft and everything that went wrong with credit cards and all that, is because we were asking the system to do something it wasn't originally built to do. It was built to move content, and that was it. Now here, add this enormous bandwidth requirement of transactions, right? Cash flow and money systems and banking and all that. So if we could just build a new pipe, just like you in your house, right? You might have a pipe for sewage, you have a pipe for clean water. You don't want those two mixed, right? So that's how I see this all evolving from a very simplistic standpoint. And so everything that's now connected to that transactional pipe, right? It's going to be fast. It's going to be even easier. It's just going to be so much better. But we can't fathom it yet because the technology, we're creating it. It's brand new, right? When everybody was riding around in horses and carriages, nobody had the concept that a car would ever work. Can you imagine, or talking about a plane, right? Imagine if we could fly like birds. Now we do. That kind of generational technological leap, I think, is what we're going through right now. And so we're going to come out of this better, stronger, faster. $6 million man, right? It's or woman, whichever show you liked. And so this is kind of where we're at right now. And that's how I see this all adopting. And I'm still as bullish as ever, right? I know it's a little slower, it's a little quieter, and things are happening in the world that are making all kinds of decisions difficult for people financially. But you get through this stuff, right? And this is the time that you build, and off we go.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while for us to get used to anything on the computer. So I agree, in due time, with more things out there for people to see, and when you're forced to like upgrade something and you have no choice like to go back, then you learn to learn about it, and
Yeah,
the
huge
easier
point.
it gets.
Yeah.
And I love your explanation on the easy button. And with that, like, so if I were someone that was new to the app and looking for something to get started on, what would be like an artist or a book or a story that you would recommend to them to start reading on VeVe?
Daredevil #1.
How did I know you might
Yeah,
say something?
that'll always be my go-to. Right? Yeah, I don't know. I would anyone I recommend this stuff to. Like, I'm in an older age guys beer league hockey club, and I get asked by them all the time, you're into these NFTs and stuff, right? And I'm like, yeah. What kind do you like? I said, oh, I like, Marvel licensed comic books. The first thing they say is, oh, what do you mean licensed, right? It's like, well, they approve this, right? They're the original ones that said, okay, let's do this. And that's different than, some thing that was created out of nothing. And so you had to preface it sometimes a little bit, but then I say, why don't you go in and just try it? Grab a copy of Fantastic Four #1. Right, it's the book that started everything that you see in the shows and everything today, and you can have a copy right now for like $7 or $8, right? And then try it, see what you think, and then we can go from there. And so that's kind of where I see a lot of the people are like, oh, I get that, right? And then of course I say Daredevil, like, I mean, it's my personal favorite, but it's just, you're going to start seeing a heck of a lot of Daredevil content. I mean, he's everywhere, right? And he's had cameos in all the, like No Way Home, I think, in Spider-Man, which I was having a chat with another VVer the other day, right? For those that don't know, I mean, that was pulled from, I just lost the title, but 1983, it was one of the Daredevil comics where Matt Murdock comes in and he's the lawyer for Peter Parker, right? And of course, then you see that scene put into Spidey No Way Home. So I said, if you're interested in Spider-Man and Daredevil, right, those collabs, you can get access to any of the books. And so I often will go back to the person and say, what do you like? What did you read growing up? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, we have X Factor, as a matter of fact, it's just like there's any angle that you can go after. So that's, for me, it's I don't tell anybody what they should read or what they do read. I tell them what I'm reading and why, and if they need my help getting through it, then for sure have a peek. But the artist, I mean, like I said, I really like Chris Claremont. His runs have been great. Jack Kirby, I mean, I'll go back in the original, with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and the Silver Age stuff. Like, his writing was just fantastic. Frank Miller, he was a huge run in the Daredevil scene. He came back. I think Frank's rewrote the Born Again series. So I like seeing all the integrations that are happening between the physical world, and what we see on TV and in the films, and then saying, okay, let's go back and figure out where did that all start, and do the homework, right? I always say, get in there, and you can find almost anything, through Google, Grok, whatever you want to use, but you can just say, where did this come from? What was the first show where this character appeared? Daredevil #7 was his first red suit. It kind of like the suit that he's, they made big deals about the suit in the series on Disney Plus, right? It's like he came out in the yellow one, and then now he's going to be in the red. And they've got all those helmets lined up. Oh, it just looks so fun, right? But you can research all that stuff and then go back in and say, yeah, you know what, that might be fun just to say I have that book, and go from there. Right.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks like we got some homework to do for next week, Raven.
I already
Yeah.
own it, so I'm good. I can just go read it.
Now you got to read it. That's
Yeah.
the thing, right? I always say, read your comic books. It's
That's right.
Yep.
funny because I think a lot of people too own them and then don't read them. And I don't know if that's because of maybe everybody that does, it's just everything they have in physical is slabbed and they're used to not reading. But enjoy them, because I mean, I have no idea if this is pure speculation. Like, if VeVe or Marvel track the amount of time spent in the app versus, just scrolling and buying versus actually reading the books, I'd love to know that. That'd be a kind of a cool thing. But read the books, because that supports the artist, right? And the artists are the ones that, boy, if they're impassioned to keep writing great stories, and you can support them in the past. And Jack Kirby's daughter, is it his daughter or his granddaughter, right? She has an account on X where she's proud of her granddad, and she posts stuff about work that he did in the past. And it's like, that continuity is great. But I think if you're supporting the artist and showing, and they get the love and they see it, I always refer to that video that I think it was Gary O took, one of our VeVe fam, right? He was at New York Comic Con, and he just filmed Swagglehoss, like how excited he was at that VeVe drop, right? I mean, this is a huge influencer in the physical space. He's got clout. He's got tons of people that watch and listen to him. And he's like, this was incredible. This was incredible. Like, here, let me tell you what happened, right? Boy, you want to support guys like that. You just, that's how this is going to keep rolling and growing. And, when VeVe gets going with the curator tool, right? And you got more and more artists coming in and building and driving more stories for everybody to talk about. And the art, I mean, if anyone likes art, the covers are fantastic. I mean, I never negate the cover, but sometimes you're reading these stories and you see a panel, it's like, holy crap, that looks good. Like, how did they make that look like that? It looks like it's moving. It looks like you can see the light coming through the window. Like, there's so much talent that comes out of these artists that I think if you're not reading the books, you're missing 99% of what's under the cover, right? And so, yeah, I mean, you don't have to read every one, but pick maybe a couple that you like and just, start engaging it. And as a kid, that's sometimes, I would read the books and then I would read them again and I would be really slow and I would sort of go back and investigate panels, and now you have an app that lets you zoom in or read panel by panel and you can see incredible amounts of detail. And I can't imagine what that's going to look like in the VeVe-verse if it's everything that we're going towards, like enhanced appeal, colors, visual, right, scope, and all that. I mean, man, it's crazy right now just reading these books and seeing that level of clarity from these artists, and the writers too. I don't forget, like, they're the ones that are coming up with these storylines that are exciting. The alien books that we were reading with Alex, right? What if, and I can't remember, alien, not the resurrection ones, but it was the one where they thought, if that thing had actually come back to Earth and all that kind of stuff. You got a whole other storyline to talk about, right? The what if books, the Marvel zombies. There's so many different things so many different ways you can enjoy this. And by the way, if anyone hasn't been watching the What If series on Disney Plus, it's fun. And same thing, the level of detail in the animation side of it is just so cool. And then of course you come back and you've got related titles in VeVe and stuff like that. And the Watcher is a really big deal. If anyone knows who that character is, it's so neat to see him in all these shows. We have him in the book. We have his FA, and then he's going to be a big part of the Fantastic Four release coming out, which I can't wait. Oh my God, it's just such a great time. Like, that's what I mean, right? You can just go on and talk about all this magic that's really happening all around us, and to be a part of it is, it's been fantastic. Right?
Yeah, I think that's like the best part is to like we are a part of it, and even as it's evolving, we're still here watching it evolve with the community. So I
Mhm.
100% agree with you, Chris. So we're getting down to the last bit, but I wanted to ask a question before I hand it over to Raven, if she has something else. Um, so Chris, we had a lot of fun meeting up with you in Maui last year, and yeah, you got Hinano just. Yeah, you know how you guys are when you get together. You just don't stop talking. But now that VeVe had put out, the events that they're going to be going to, is there a chance that we're going to be seeing you in one of the events like Vegas this year?
Yeah, I'm really, really wanting to get to some of these. I know the challenge I always have is my darned actual work schedule, and then when I can go. I'm actually going to be in Vegas in April, but it's not timed correctly. Unfortunately, it's a different it's a credit union conference. Oh my. Anyways, not not collectibles, but I'm definitely trying. And I know San Diego is a lot easier for me because it's a straight whip down. Um, and then there is talk. I know we're trying to. There's a few people that are going to be in Vancouver in March, and we're going to see if we can get at least a VeVe Vancouver setup going again too. But yes, it's always on my wish list that I can get to one of these things. It's the coordination with my darn day job.
Let me know if I need to write them a note to excuse you.
Yeah, I got to get a letter of recommendation.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one in Vancouver, is that the Fan Expo?
Well, yeah, there's a few little ones that go on, but it's kind of like the one that we did. Oh boy, was this 2022? And it was Roth came to town for Metaverse Life, and Aaron was here, and there was about 10 of us, maybe 12, and we all just came together, and we met at that Golden Age Collectibles comic book store. I know Denis Mazer and we got there a little early, and we were just in there, and all of a sudden you look up, and here came everybody down the hall, and you're just like, oh my God, these people are here, right? That, you know, you talk with like this and on video and stuff, and it was, unfortunately, it went by too fast. You know, even though we were together for hours, it just zipped by. We all were buying books in the store, and then we went out for dinner, and then we went to this great little video game arcade place and hung out, and everybody was putting their collectibles in AR, and it was just so neat, right? And then when you saw Roth finish production, and he showed the Vancouver segment, I can't remember what it was, episode 5 or something like that, but you're just like, yeah, you can relive it. It was so cool. It was so cool. Yeah, so I mean, anyone that can, if you can get out to any event, or, you know, even whatever city you're in, right? Find other people and just hey, let's get together, and, you know, and have a chat, right? Have a coffee, have a drink, have a dinner, whatever, and discuss it, because that's the passion that keeps us all going, right? But
Yeah, I love hearing that from you, Chris. And a time will come that we'll be meeting up again
oh yeah,
soon.
no, we'll get back.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a magical, that was so cool. And I don't know, for anybody, I'll spill beans here, D. Like, I had my family in Maui. This was last year, and then we're like, oh yeah, we'll try and figure out where to meet and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be on this part of the beach and just hanging out. And then all of a sudden, you know, you and your family come walking down the beach, D. We're just jumping up, and it was like, what was that? You know, running on the beach towards each other.
It's like almost like Baywatch in slow motion.
Baywatch. It was all slow motion. Everything was happening so slow, and it's like, holy cow, right? And then there you guys were. Yeah. And hours just spent, and not, I mean, yeah, I mean, VeVe and collecting was a huge part of it, but, you know, just getting to know you as a family,
Yeah.
right? And your backgrounds and what got you guys here and everything. And it was just it was a really nice night, and which was very similar in Vancouver, right? It was suddenly like these people that you'd never met before, never knew, but you had this very common bond. They were instant friends, instant, right? And that's kind of, you can't put value on that. It's hard to discuss, but it's real, right? A lot of us see this from this community where we're listening to these types of shows and podcasts and whatnot, but when you actually meet in real life, it's just like, oh yeah, just so well connected. It's great. And there's no end of what you can talk about, right? So it's good.
Yeah, highly recommend anyone that can go and meet in real life to do so, and it's just a whole another experience.
Mhm.
But Raven, before we close out, was there anything else that you wanted to ask or talk about with Chris?
No, there's not too much that I want to ask. I just want to say thank you for joining us. Like, this has been amazing, and I just leave these conversations more pumped and excited and ready for more. And I'm really excited to see what this next era brings us. But yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Totally. Oh, I appreciate you guys having me. This was a nice chat. Nice to get back together again, D. It's been a while, and yeah, and keep up the great show content too. I mean, this is what it's all about. You guys are you know, you're pulling it here, and this is great. You know, people are here, they're listening, they're having a good time, and right, they could be doing anything else with their days, but we choose to come together and listen to all these stories because it's, you know, we're kind of connected by this, and it's just fun. You know, at the end of the day, enjoy this stuff. I think you know, there's always going to be fun. There's always going to be issues and negativity, right? But, you know, choose your path. You know, you can frump or you can smile, right? I think I read somewhere it takes less muscles in your face to smile anyway, so it's better for you.
Yeah, I
Right?
read that too. Like weird,
Yeah,
interesting facts or something.
yeah, right. You want to have the right wrinkles as you get to my age, not the frown ones, right? So it's like, yeah. Why be negative? I don't know. Anyways, that's but for me, I'm having such a blast with this. It hasn't changed. I'm enjoying it since the day I started, and this type of community event makes this even better. So just a wonderful enhancement to have these types of conversations. So thank you guys very much too.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. We really appreciate your time. And if just kind of filling it out there, if anyone wants to pick up some comic books to add to your collection or to even read, please go check out King Nino's Whatnot show happening on Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, get some books for your collection. And also just want to give a huge shout out to all the people listening, and most especially because we've got two Canadians up here. Shout out to the Canadian family out there.
Yeah. Thursday night, Raven. We're going back on the
Yeah.
ice.
I'll be watching.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, is there anything else, Raven, that we got to cover? Or I think
No, I think we've got it all. Like, we're gonna have some great more shows coming up. We'll be here again next Tuesday with another guest.
yes. Oh, and we'll stay tuned for that. We'll be posting up who's going to be our guest in the next one. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much for continuing to come each week and just listening in. Oh, hold on 1 second. We have the other co-host coming up.
He just couldn't get enough. He had to come back.
I had to talk to Chris, man. Chris,
Bro.
you're amazing, bro. You're amazing, dude. Look, you got me all hyped up. I'm all hyped up now. Like I'm ready to run through a VeVe wall, baby.
Here's funny. I gotta admit, I was watching on the Battle of the Bands last night, and the hair was just it looked awesome. And
Thanks, bro.
you were nailing it. Yeah, it was great.
Thank you, Big Bro, for coming back. Hope you got to work safely. But again, everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. The song that we're gonna be playing today is actually from someone in the community from Delco, and the things that he wanted to capture with the song is the fun we used to have in VeVe and the feelings that came with it. And it's also his type of vibe. So, yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. You've been listening to VeVe Radio.
Collect big.
Dream bigger.
Dream big.
See you next
See you next
See you
time.
next time.
We got it, guys. We got it.
Thanks, guys.
One day.
I'm up at 8, got my finger on the screen, refreshing the app more than it seems. Clock's ticking down, my heart's in a daze. I'm ready to click, send that drop my way. But then the list closes and my hopes on hold. Sold out hits and the feeling's cold. It's the same old story, I'm left in the queue. VeVe's got me hooked, what else can I do? I miss the drop again. Oh, Supergirl, you're my dream come true. With your cape and your curls,